There are places in the world that force you to stop, simply because what you see does not match what you expected. Spaces where stone seems light and balance appears without any apparent effort. They were not created to surprise, but formed slowly, patiently, by climate, time, and the earth itself. These are landscapes that invite you to look slowly, to understand that nature does not improvise. To truly understand them, it is not enough to observe them. You have to be there and let the surroundings speak for themselves. Number 13. Kjeragbolten, Norway. In the fjords of southwestern Norway, the landscape opens into vertical walls that descend toward a deep and serene fjord. In this monumental setting lies Kjeragbolten, a granite rock wedged between two mountain walls, nearly 1,000 meters above the level of the fjord. Its position is so precise that it seems suspended in midair, held in place solely by the natural pressure between both surfaces. This balance is not accidental. For thousands of years, glaciers advanced and retreated, polishing the rock and carving a narrow passage where the block became lodged. The result is a scene that conveys calm and tension at the same time. Those who approach this spot experience a sensation that is difficult to describe. The silence is profound, the wind is clearly felt, and the landscape stretches out without obstacles. There are no artificial elements interfering with the experience, which strengthens the direct connection with the surroundings. More than a place to observe, Kjeragbolten is a point for reflection on the precision of natural processes and on how balance can emerge even in the most extreme environments. Number 12. El Torcal de Antequera. In the interior of Andalusia unfolds a landscape that seems to come from a mineral dream. El Torcal de Antequera is a vast collection of limestone formations shaped over millions of years by water, wind, and changes in temperature. The result is an authentic stone labyrinth where blocks stack upon one another with surprising balance. Each step reveals new figures. Some rocks resemble everyday objects, others animals, or impossible constructions. These shapes were not placed at random, but respond to the internal structure of the limestone and to a constant and patient process of erosion. Walking along its paths is a slow experience. The landscape invites you to reduce your pace, observe the details, and understand that geological time is not measured in years, but in entire eras. El Torcal stands out not only for its scientific value, but also for its ability to awaken the imagination. It is a space where science explains the origin and personal experience provides the sense of wonder, creating a combination that is hard to forget. Number 11. Mushroom Rock. In the desert of Wadi Rum, the horizon takes on reddish tones and rock forms emerge like natural sculptures. Among them stands Mushroom Rock, an enormous sandstone formation whose upper part is much wider than its base, creating the illusion of impossible balance. This very particular appearance is the result of wind erosion. For millions of years, sand-laden wind wore down the lower area more intensely, while the upper portion better resisted the passage of time. Thus was born this figure that seems designed with artistic intention. The surroundings reinforce the sense of strangeness. The space is vast, silent, and clean, with light that constantly changes and transforms the colors of the rock. Remaining there is to feel how the landscape dominates all the senses. Mushroom Rock is not just a visual curiosity, but a clear demonstration of how natural processes can create forms that challenge our expectations. It is a place to observe, photograph, and above all, understand the constant force of wind in desert landscapes. Number 10. Mexican Hat Rock. In southeastern Utah, near wide-open valleys and reddish formations, Mexican Hat Rock rises. A rock whose silhouette resembles a hat delicately resting on a narrow base. The formation reaches approximately 18 meters in height and stands out for its striking visual balance. Its origin lies in sedimentary layers that, over time, eroded unevenly. The upper layers, more resistant, remained intact while the base was slowly reduced. The result is a figure that appears carefully placed upon the landscape. From different viewpoints, the rock takes on different profiles. At sunrise and sunset, the light enhances the contrasts and turns the scene into an iconic image of the American Southwest. These types of formations help explain how erosion does not destroy, but transforms. Mexican Hat Rock is a clear example of how the patience of time can generate balance, beauty, and a strong visual identity in an apparently simple environment. Number 9. Kannesteinen Rock. On the western coast of Norway, where the North Sea strikes relentlessly, stands Kannesteinen Rock. This cup-shaped rock was formed by the constant action of waves and sand over thousands of years. The base, much narrower than the top, has been gradually eroded by the movement of water, creating a figure that seems to defy stability. From certain angles, the rock appears to float just above the surface of the sea. What is most striking is its resilience. Despite being exposed to a demanding coastal environment, the formation remains firm, reminding us that balance can also arise under dynamic conditions. Visiting Kannesteinen is a complete sensory experience. The sound of the sea, the salty wind, and the contrast between the pale rock and the dark water create a powerful scene. It is a perfect example of how coastal landscapes can sculpt unique forms without human intervention. Number 8. Idle Rock. In northern England, within Yorkshire Dales National Park, the landscape takes on an almost theatrical appearance. Among gentle hills and green expanses rises Idle Rock, a formation that seems to defy any visual logic. It is a large block of stone resting on a surprisingly narrow base, creating a sense of instability that captures attention from the very first moment. This rock is part of the group known as Brimham Rocks, an area where erosion has been at work for more than 300 million years. Wind, rain, and temperature changes have slowly carved these singular forms, resulting in figures that appear to have been placed with artistic intent. As visitors move through the area, they discover how perspective constantly changes. From certain angles, Idle Rock seems to float. From others, it naturally integrates into the landscape. The experience is not only visual, but also contemplative. Here, nature demonstrates that it can create surprising structures without the need for apparent rules. Number 7. Chiricahua Balanced Rocks. In southern Arizona stretches Chiricahua National Monument, a territory where ancient volcanic eruptions gave rise to a completely unique landscape. The so-called balanced rocks rise as columns and blocks that seem stacked upon one another with bewildering precision. These formations originated from compacted volcanic ash that, over time, was eroded by water and wind. The result is a true stone labyrinth where each figure seems to tell its own story. Some resemble towers, others giant mushrooms, and many adopt different profiles depending on the light of day. The contrast between the deep blue sky and the reddish and grey tones of the rock creates a scene that appears to change every hour. Walking along its trails is a calm experience, ideal for observing how balance can emerge even from violent processes in the geological past. Chiricahua is a reminder that the Earth transforms its own traces and turns them into harmonious landscapes, where apparent fragility is in reality lasting stability. Number 6. Kumakivi. Hidden among dense, moss-covered forests, Kumakivi is one of the most intriguing formations in northern Europe. Its name, meaning strange stone, perfectly describes the impression it creates at first sight. An enormous oval rock rests on a curved surface, touching it at only a single, minimal point. At first glance, it seems impossible that it could remain stable. However, geological studies confirm that the rock was deposited there by the retreat of a glacier thousands of years ago, settling into a position of perfect balance. The surroundings reinforce its enigmatic character. Surrounded by tall trees and silence, Kumakivi seems isolated from modern time. There are no artificial elements to distract attention, allowing for a direct connection with the landscape. This place invites reflection on the invisible force of natural processes. Without noise or spectacle, Kumakivi demonstrates that balance can be silent, enduring, and deeply surprising. Number 5. Peñón de Ifach. On the Mediterranean coast, Peñón de Ifach rises imposingly above the sea, reaching about 330 meters in height. Its vertical and solitary silhouette makes it one of the most recognizable visual landmarks of the Spanish coastline. Although it is not a rock in classic balance, its presence creates the sensation of an enormous mass suspended between sky and water. Connected to land by a narrow isthmus, the rock appears to float when viewed from a distance. For centuries, it served as a point of orientation for sailors. Today, protected as a natural park, it is a space where geology, biodiversity, and human experience coexist harmoniously. Marked trails allow visitors to ascend and contemplate the Mediterranean from a privileged perspective. Peñón de Ifach is proof that scale alone can generate awe. It does not need delicate balance, but absolute presence, reminding us how geology can define the identity of an entire landscape. Number 4. Devil's Marbles. In the center of Australia's Northern Territory, a collection of enormous granite blocks spreads across the reddish desert ground. Known as Devil's Marbles, these formations stand out for their size, their seemingly random arrangement, and their surprising balance. Formed millions of years ago, the rocks began as large granite masses that over time fractured and rounded due to thermal erosion. Some appear precisely split, others rest delicately atop one another. For indigenous peoples, locally known as Kjeragbolten, this place holds deep cultural and spiritual significance. The experience of walking through it is enriched by that respect for the environment. At sunrise and sunset, the colors change intensely, creating a hypnotic visual spectacle. Devil's Marbles is a clear example of how balance does not always imply symmetry, but adaptation to the environment. Number 3. Balanced Rock. Within Arches National Park stands Balanced Rock, one of the most iconic formations in the Utah desert. With an upper mass exceeding 3,500 tons, the rock appears to rest on a much narrower base, creating a constant sense of wonder. Its shape is the result of rock layers with different levels of resistance. While the base eroded more quickly, the upper portion remained intact, creating this striking contrast. The arid environment, with reddish tones and wide open spaces, enhances the presence of the formation. Throughout the day, shadows and light transform its appearance, offering a constantly changing visual experience. Balanced rock is not only a photographic icon, but also a clear geological lesson. Balance can be maintained for thousands of years when conditions allow. Number 2. Krishna's Butterball. In Mahabalipuram, an enormous granite rock has rested on a gentle slope for more than a millennium. With an estimated weight exceeding 250 tons and a diameter close to 6 meters, Krishna's Butterball seems to defy all expectations. Its position is so puzzling that it has generated stories, studies, and theories for centuries. Despite its appearance, the rock has not moved, demonstrating absolute stability. The surroundings, with ancient temples and open spaces, reinforce the sensation of being in front of something extraordinary. Visitors from all over the world come to observe it from different angles and understand its unique balance. Krishna's Butterball is a perfect example of how geology and human perception can collide, generating continuous wonder without the need for complex explanations. Number 1. Golden Rock. At the top of a mountain in Mon State, Golden Rock maintains a balance that seems impossible. Covered in golden leaf, this enormous rock leans over the edge of a cliff, creating a deeply symbolic image. Beyond its visual appearance, the place conveys a sense of calm and contemplation. The rock appears suspended in space, reflecting the light of sunset in an intense yet serene way. Its exact position has remained unchanged for centuries, making it one of the most iconic landscapes in Southeast Asia. The mountainous surroundings, often wrapped in mist, reinforce the impression of being in a place outside of time. Golden Rock closes this journey as a reminder that balance is not always explained solely through numbers, but also through the direct experience of being present. Pedestal Rock. In Garden of the Gods, the landscape seems designed to force you to look upward. Among reddish columns and eroded stone walls, Pedestal Rock stands out for a simple reason. It appears to be supported by a point far too small to hold all its weight. It does not demand attention, but once you see it, you cannot ignore it. This rock formed from layers of sandstone that slowly rose as nearby mountains began to lift. Over millions of years, wind, water, and temperature changes wore away the softer layers, leaving an increasingly narrow base. What remained was this delicate, almost elegant balance that now defines the place. What is interesting about Pedestal Rock is not only its shape, but the feeling it conveys. As you approach, the surroundings grow quiet. Not because there is no wind or birds, but because attention focuses entirely on the stone. It is one of those scenes where time seems to slow down without you realizing it. Walking the trails that surround it is a calm and accessible experience. There is no need for haste or extensive technical explanations. It is enough to observe how something so heavy can remain stable for so long. Pedestal Rock reminds us that nature does not need perfect symmetry to create harmony. Sometimes balance is born from imperfection, and that is where its most lasting beauty lies. Hampi. In southern India, the landscape of Hampi seems built from an impossible idea. Entire hills covered with enormous rocks stacked upon one another, many of them in positions that defy any intuition. It is not a single balanced stone, but hundreds spread across kilometers, creating a constant sense of wonder. These granite rocks formed hundreds of millions of years ago, when magma cooled slowly beneath the surface. Over time, erosion removed the surrounding material and exposed these rounded blocks. Some remained supported on minimal contact points, as if someone had placed them with extreme care. Walking through Hampi is both a physical and emotional experience. The terrain forces you to move slowly, choose each step, and observe. It is not a place to rush through. Each rock seems to tell its own story, and many convey a calm that is difficult to explain. What makes Hampi special is that balance is not an isolated rarity, but part of the everyday landscape. The rocks coexist with ancient temples, dirt paths, and open spaces where the light constantly changes. Here, balance does not impress by being extreme, but by being constant. It is a silent lesson in how nature can create order, even within apparent disorder. Teetering Rock. In the hills near Colorado Springs lies Teetering Rock, an enormous granite boulder that seems about to move, yet has remained in the same position for centuries. Its name perfectly describes the first impression it creates. What is curious is that despite its size, the rock responds slightly to human pressure. It does not shift, but it conveys a sensation of movement that is unsettling. That subtle response makes its balance even more intriguing. Its origin traces back to very slow geological processes. The granite fractured naturally, and erosion removed the surrounding material until the rock was left resting on a rounded base. The contact point is small, but sufficient to maintain stability. The surroundings are peaceful, surrounded by vegetation and gentle trails. It is not a place that stands out for its scale, but for the direct experience. Standing before Teetering Rock awakens an almost childlike curiosity, the need to understand how something so large can remain that way. This formation reminds us that balance is not always rigid. Sometimes it is flexible, subtle, almost imperceptible. And precisely for that reason, it is so fascinating. This journey through balanced landscapes reminds us that nature does not seek to impress, it simply follows its course. And yet, in that constant process, it creates scenes that awaken admiration and curiosity. Each of these formations is an invitation to explore with respect, to observe attentively, and to value time as the great sculptor of the planet. Tell us from which part of the world you are joining us and which of these landscapes captured your interest the most. If you enjoy discovering corners where the Earth seems to reinvent itself, join us on the next journey. Here, exploration never ends.